a picture or documentary or whatever it is that you're trying to put across. If you're just sending some 10 seconds of video across, the internet, that's cool, or YouTube or whatever it is. But when presenting a story, it has to have proper lighting and presentation to make the art work. If you're going to get into that business, study the art of telling a story and lighting a picture and moving a camera and all of that stuff that goes along with it, depth of field and all that kind of thing. That is part of video.
Do you think the accessibility of all this technology to the layperson has put a number of videographers out of work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's plenty of people that were out of work. But then what happens? You can claim to be a videographer, and and you have your little flip phone, and you're out there, and and you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you watch something on PBS, or you watch something that's really well done, and that's when you realize that you're really not that dude or that woman, so that's when you realize it.
Video Music Box was launched over a quarter century ago to showcase hip-hop music. Since MTV was not showcasing rap and hip-hop music, were artists from these genres making videos prior to VMB, or was it something you encouraged them to do since you were willing to give them a viewing audience?
It's kind of split. We were encouraging people to do videos because in the beginning of Video Music Box, there were only maybe 5 hip-hop videos. If you look at the opening of Video Music Box, it's got Bob Marley, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, James Brown, and a couple other people. And so, Run DMC was the only hip-hop group in the opening. So there were only a few hip-hop groups, and there were only a few hip-hop videos. But, like in the case of the Sugar Hill Gang with, what's the name of the song? My mind just went blank. Sugar Hill Gang, hip hop, hip. Oh my God, my mind just went blank. But whatever the name of the song is, see, there's too many songs in my head. But that was taped from a TV show. That video, it was a TV show that aired in New Jersey that just was really about disco, and the song was just hey, it fit. It was kind of disco because it had a sample of Chic, Good Times on it, and that's what they were rhyming over, and it fit that program in a disco format, but just had somebody rapping on it, and they made that into a video. Okay, this will be the video for it, and in time that became the video for the show. So it looks like a local version of Soul Train, but that became the video. And that was where a lot of these things were done. You had some artists that were making videos in their own studios and just kind of performing it with somebody who they knew had a video camera, some videographer, and he kind of put something together. And a lot of the videos were like that in the early days. And then you started to get to 84, 85. MTV came into play. So now the record company knew they had a national format where they could start getting these videos on. Not a lot of hip hop was aired on MTV, but the videos were being made then by that time. So the video quality started to get a little better. Yeah.
Well, there's no such thing as an overnight success unless, of course, you successfully get a good night's sleep, which for some of us is rare. I imagine Video Music Box was no exception. Did you run into any stumbling blocks when you originally presented the idea of VMB to the TV station?
Absolutely. The idea of having a program which primarily focused on African Americans making music and African Americans in their community was not what the PBS station that we happened to be on at the time was trying to see. They didn't have anything that represented that, especially the young people, that section of the culture and that section of the community. But I was like, well, this is a PBS station, right? Public broadcasting, so they're part of the public. So what's the problem? They were like, okay, all right, I think they tried it out just to see what would happen. And what happened was it became the only show that was showing up in the Nielsen book. They had all this great money, all these great programs that they spent a lot of money on, and these fabulous things that they did, and fabulous foundations that put money into. But it was just a dark hole that money was going into, and everybody felt good, and and the wine and the cheese was great. But when it came down to, well, how many people are actually watching, they had to use Video Music Box's numbers to justify what was going on. Once again, you're riding on the black man's back, but it's okay because I knew where I was trying to go. And if it's helping you out, we help each other out. No problem. I don't have any problem with it. And I didn't expect to be there for 25 years at the same station, that's for sure. But that was, the original thing. And it was a black program director that actually gave the show an opportunity. And I'm not sure if he realized where it was going to go, because You got to remember, hip-hop was really new at that particular time. But, you know, people believed in it. And one of the things that, you know, they asked me to do was just send positive messages to the young people, and whatever we can do to get positive messages out to the young people. And I was like, I'm cool with that. Let's do it. So everything that we did was, you know, this was the 80s, so drugs were starting to really get heavy, you know, into all communities, you know. And of course they were coming with the, you know, the Nancy Reagan slogans, you know, the just say no's and stuff. So I had to run those ads, with corny ads. And, you know, but we did our own, you know, that we did with the artists and stuff. So it was a combination of what we called edutainment. You know, it was education and entertainment at the same time.
The answer to this question might seem very obvious, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I've heard that there were adults back in the 80s who didn't like the idea of music videos. I guess unless it was something like concert footage. They believed that imposing visuals upon a perfectly good piece of music was unnecessary and could harm their listening experience. So, as a man who has produced and exhibited music videos, why do you believe the music video became an important and integral part of a recording artist's career?
You know, partially they're right. If it's not done correctly, it could really, you know, distort a great piece of work that was made, you know, on a, you know, just for audio. And that's one of the reasons why we, you know, I started doing videos myself. I started a company called Classic Concept because we felt like we were watching these videos and they didn't really look like what we thought they were going to look, you know. And the reason partially why is because they were being done pretty quickly, not really being thought through. And then the other reason was because there wasn't anybody who had been in through the hip-hop experience. They weren't being done by those people. They were being done by guys who had done, you know, Coca-Cola commercials and Sprite commercials, and, you know, were really commercial with what they were, the visuals they were having. And we said, no, these songs are about the hood. We have to take it to, you know, Brooklyn. We have to go to Bronx and shoot these videos. This is about those earrings. This is about, you know, all of those things that you talked about. You know, if this, we have to have the culture, and if you don't know the culture, then you're not going to bring those visuals to the screen. And so, yeah, if it's not done right, it could be a horrible experience and just take away something that was pure and good. And so I agree with what people say. I don't necessarily think that everybody in hip-hop was ready to be in concert. So I don't think they could have done concert videos, because everybody wasn't Earth, Wind and Fire, and everybody wasn't, you know, Prince and Michael Jackson. You know, these guys were new. You know, these guys were just like kind of like, hey, figuring it all out. You know, Run DMC kind of figured it all out, and they got a show, and they got on stage, picked up some things from some rock groups, and had some, you know, some cool stuff going on. But not everybody could be Run DMC, you know, or Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Not everybody could be those guys. And so it was a matter of finding music videos were a good opportunity for a filmmaker and these hip-hop guys to come together and create something really cool, and I think they did. And that's why it worked for hip-hop.
About how many videos did Classic Concepts pump out in the earlies?
Over 400 music videos, ranging from, you know, some of the early kind of freestyle dance stuff to definitely the early hip-hop stuff. We did the whole Cold Chillin' collection, which included, you know, Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, and Roxanne Shante. We did everything in with them. We did a New Edition, Belle Biv DeVoe, all of those videos, the whole first Boyz II Men album, Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown, all of Keith Sweat's first album. You know, we did a lot of videos, and we were the go-to company because we understood what people wanted to see, and not just black people, people that love this music. You know, so it was never a black thing when it came to hip-hop to me, because when I first started going to clubs, there were just people that liked hip-hop, and they were Asian, they were white, and they were, you know, Latino. It wasn't about black, because I didn't get that experience like that. I always looked at it from that perspective. You know, if we're going to direct, we're going to produce it from the perspective of the fact that you love this music. If it's hip-hop, if it's R&B, if it's reggae, you love this music, and we're going to present it like that. We're not presenting it as a black thing. It's for people who love the music, fans of hip-hop or whatever the genre is.
In your humble opinion, actually you don't have to be humble if you don't want to, do you believe that your creation of Video Music Box made it possible for the hip-hop music genre and many of today's recording artists to become very wealthy and pretty much status quo of the American music industry?
Absolutely. Yeah, we gave them a shot. You know, when nobody else was giving them a shot, when they were going to some of these stations that were not playing black music on the radio, there was no Hot 97 back then. Black radio stations weren't necessarily open to playing street hip-hop music. You know, BLS was definitely not playing nothing that had anything to do with rap at the time. Frankie Crocker told me, I'm not feeling that rap. He told me that personally. And I'm like, but that's what the kids are into.